Aliens unintentionally summon Deathworlders. Entire fleet responds. Part 1, The Beacon. The ancient machine had been sleeping for 10,000 years. It sat deep beneath the surface of Serath Prime, buried under layers of rock and forgotten history. High Scholar Eneth stood before it now, his thin fingers trembling with excitement and fear. Eneth was old, even by Velori standards. His pale blue skin had faded to almost white over the centuries, and his large, dark eyes had seen many wonders, but nothing like this. The machine was not Velori. It was older than their civilization, older than their recorded history. Someone else had built it and left it here, waiting. "Are you certain about this?" asked Priestess Lyra. She stood behind him, her flowing robes touching the dusty floor. Her voice was soft, like wind through leaves. The Velori were a gentle people. They had never known war until the Krell came. "No," Eneth admitted, "but we have no choice." Above them, in the black sky of space, the Krell armada was approaching. 500 warships, each one larger than any vessel the Velori could build. The Krell were conquerors. They moved from world to world, taking what they wanted, enslaving those who survived. The Velori had tried to negotiate. They had tried to hide. Nothing worked. Commander Tavik had done his best. The Velori defense fleet was in position, but everyone knew the truth. They had 40 ships against 500. Their weapons were designed to push asteroids away from their planet, not to fight wars. They had never needed weapons of war before. Eneth looked at the ancient symbols on the machine. His team had spent months translating them. The words were simple but strange. Emergency protocol, summon aid, Class XII response. "What does Class XII mean?" Lyra had asked when they first found it. Eneth did not know then. He knew now. Class XII was a classification for planets. It meant a world so dangerous, so hostile, that no intelligent life should be able to survive there. Worlds with crushing gravity, poisonous air, and violent weather. Worlds where every creature was a predator or prey. The ancient records called them Deathworlds. The machine was designed to call for help from beings that lived on such worlds. Beings tough enough to survive anything. "The records say no Deathworld species has ever developed space travel," Eneth said quietly. "The conditions are too harsh. They kill each other before they can reach the stars." "Then this machine is useless," Lyra said. "It will call to empty planets." "Perhaps." Eneth placed his hand on the activation panel. "But perhaps not. The universe is vast. Maybe somewhere, somehow, something survived long enough to look up at the stars and dream." He pressed the panel. The machine hummed. Lights that had been dark for 10,000 years flickered to life. Energy pulsed through ancient circuits. And then a signal shot upward, through the rock, through the atmosphere, out into the endless black of space. It traveled at speeds the Velori could not understand. It passed stars and nebulas and empty void. It searched for the signature of Deathworlds, for planets that matched the terrible criteria in its programming. It found one. Far across the galaxy, the signal reached a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star. The planet had crushing gravity by galactic standards. Its atmosphere was filled with a corrosive gas called oxygen. Its weather was violent and unpredictable. Its oceans were full of predators. Its land was covered with creatures that hunted and killed each other constantly. The inhabitants called it Earth. And they had not only survived. They had built cities. They had built machines. They had built ships that could travel between stars. On Sol Orbital Station, a young officer named Geo noticed the signal first. She frowned at her screen, not understanding what she was seeing. The signal was old, impossibly old, using technology that predated anything in human records. But the message was clear. "Admiral Park," she said, her voice shaking slightly, "you need to see this." Admiral Tiho Park was a patient man. He had commanded Earth's United Fleet for 15 years. He had seen many strange things in the void between stars. But when he looked at Ji-Yoon's screen, his calm expression changed. "Is this real?" he asked. "Yes, sir. The signal is genuine. It came from a star system 4,000 light-years away." Tiho read the translated message again. 3 words, just 3 words, but they changed everything. "Help us, please." Back on Sereth Prime, Enith did not know if his desperate act had worked. He returned to the surface to find chaos. The sky was burning. The Krell had begun their attack. Commander Tavik's voice came through every speaker on the planet. "All citizens, seek shelter. The defense fleet is engaging the enemy. May the ancestors protect us." Lyra grabbed Enith's arm. "Did the beacon work? Is anyone coming?" "I do not know," he said honestly. "The signal was sent, but whether anyone received it, whether anyone will answer, I cannot say." They looked up at the sky together. Velori ships were firing at the Krell armada, but their weapons did little damage. The Krell ships were too strong, too many. One by one, Velori vessels exploded in bright flashes of light. Lyra began to pray. She prayed to the ancestors, to the stars, to anyone who might listen. "Please," she whispered, "please send someone, send anyone. We cannot fight alone." In orbit, Commander Tavik watched his fleet die. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, his 4-fingered hands gripping the railing. He had trained his whole life for this moment, and now he knew it was hopeless. "Commander," his officer said, "we have lost 12 ships. The Krell are not slowing down." "Continue firing," Tavik ordered. "We will not surrender, we will not run. If we die protecting our home." The Krell warlord Gran watched from his command ship. He was massive, even for his species, with thick gray skin and 4 arms ending in clawed hands. He smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Pathetic," he said. "These Velori are even weaker than we expected. Their ships are toys, their weapons are harmless." "The planet will fall within 2 days," his officer reported. "Their population will make excellent slaves." Gran nodded. This was how it always went. The Krell were strong, others were weak. The strong took what they wanted. That was the only law that mattered. He did not notice the small beeping on his sensor screen. A signal, traveling outward into space. A call for help that had already been answered. 4,000 light-years away, Admiral Tiho Park stood before the United Earth Council. Generals and admirals from every nation on Earth watched him on screens around the room. "The signal is genuine," Tiho said. "An alien species is under attack. They are asking for help." "We do not know these beings," one general said. "Why should we risk our fleet?" "Because they asked," Tiho replied simply. "Because someone somewhere looked up at the stars and hoped that someone would answer. How can we ignore that?" The room was silent. "The entire fleet," another admiral said. 200 ships, are you certain?" "I am. Whatever they face must be terrible for them to send such a desperate message. We will answer with everything we have." The vote was quick. Humanity had always dreamed of meeting others among the stars. Now someone was calling. Someone needed help. There was only one answer. Captain Minji Kang received her orders aboard the Horizon. She read them twice, then smiled. "Well," she said to her crew, "it looks like we are going to introduce ourselves to the galaxy." Lieutenant Woojenbeek laughed. "First contact, I never thought I would see the day." "None of us did," Minji said. "But someone needs our help, so we answer. That is what humans do." The fleet began to move. 200 ships, the largest force humanity had ever assembled. They pointed toward the stars and prepared to jump. On Sereth Prime, Lyra continued to pray. She did not know that her prayers had already been answered. She did not know that across the vast darkness of space, something was coming. Something from a death world. Something that had survived everything the universe could throw at it. Humanity was coming. Aliens unintentionally summon Deathworlders. Entire fleet responds. Part 2, the response. The sole orbital station was alive with activity. Officers ran through corridors. Engineers checked systems. Pilots prepared their ships. Admiral Tiho Park stood at the center of it all, calm like the eye of a storm. Dr. Hana Yoon pushed through the crowd to reach him. She was young for a senior scientist, with sharp eyes and quick movements. She held a tablet filled with data about the alien signal. "Admiral, I have completed my analysis," she said. "The signal contains more than just words. There are coordinates, star maps, and something else." "What else?" "A warning." Hana pulled up the data on her tablet. "The beings who built that beacon left information about the species it would summon. They called them Deathworlders, Class XII. The classification describes planets with extreme conditions." Tiho nodded slowly. "And Earth matches this classification. Perfectly high gravity, oxygen atmosphere, extreme temperature ranges, violent weather. Our planet is exactly what they described." Hana paused. "Admiral, these aliens may not know what they have called. They may be expecting monsters." Tiho smiled slightly. "Then we will have to show them otherwise. What do we know about the species that sent the signal?" "Very little. They call themselves the Velori. Their planet, Sereth Prime, is a low-gravity world with stable weather. Based on the signal, they appear to be a peaceful species with no history of warfare, and they are under attack." "By whom?" "Unknown, but the signal was desperate. Whatever they face, they believe they cannot survive it." Tiho looked out the window at the fleet assembling in orbit. 200 ships, cruisers, destroyers, carriers, and support vessels. The pride of Earth, built over decades of cooperation between all nations. "Then we answer," he said. Captain Minji Kang walked through the corridors of the horizon. Her ship was a heavy cruiser, one of the newest in the fleet. Its hull was thick armor. Its weapons were powerful, but Minji cared more about her crew. She found Lieutenant Woojin Beek in the tactical center, studying star charts. Woojin was her best tactical officer, known for finding solutions that others missed. "Lieutenant," she said, "are you ready?" Woojin looked up with a grin. "Born ready, Captain. First contact with alien life. This is what I dreamed about as a child." "We do not know what we will find," Minji warned. "The aliens are under attack. We may arrive in the middle of a war." "Good, then they will see what humans can do." Minji shook her head, but she was smiling. "Find Sergeant Doyun. Tell him to prepare the Marines. If we need boots on the ground, I want the best." Sergeant Doyun Choi was in the training bay, lifting weights that would crush a normal person. He was massive, even by human standards, with muscles built over years of combat training. When Woojin found him, he was bench pressing 300 kilograms like it was nothing. "Sergeant," Woojin said, "Captain's orders, prepare your squad." Doyun set down the weights and sat up. Sweat covered his face, but his breathing was steady. "What's the mission?" "First contact. Alien species under attack. We might need to fight." Doyun smiled. It was not a cruel smile, but a determined one. "My people are always ready. We will protect whoever needs protecting." Across the fleet, similar scenes played out. Soldiers checked weapons. Pilots ran final systems checks. Engineers made sure every ship was ready for the longest jump humanity had ever attempted. In the main hangar of the command ship, Admiral Tiho addressed the fleet through broadcast. His face appeared on screens throughout every ship. "Men and women of the United Earth Fleet," he began. "Today we answer a call that has traveled 4,000 light-years to reach us. An alien species is in danger. They asked for help and we are going to give it." He paused, looking at the camera. "We do not know what we will find. We do not know who we will meet, but we know who we are. We are humans. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day and we survived. We built nations, we built ships, and now we will show the galaxy what we are made of. Some may call us monsters. They may fear us because of where we come from, but we will prove them wrong. We fight not because we enjoy war, but because we protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is our nature. That is our choice. So prepare yourselves. In 1 hour we jump, and when we arrive we will show the universe that Earth answers." The broadcast ended. Across 200 ships, crews cheered. They were afraid, yes. They were entering the unknown, but they were also proud. They were humans and someone needed their help. Dr. Hana Yoon joined Captain Minji on the bridge of the horizon. She would serve as the communications specialist, responsible for talking to any aliens they met. "Nervous?" Minji asked. "Terrified," Hana admitted, "but also excited. We have wondered for so long if we were alone in the universe. Now we know we are not. Let us hope they are friendly." The ones who sent the signal seem desperate, not hostile, but we know nothing about who is attacking them. Minji nodded. "Then we will be ready for anything." The hour passed quickly. Ships formed into jump formation, arranging themselves in careful patterns. The jump drives hummed with power, ready to tear holes in space and carry them across the galaxy in moments. Admiral Tiho gave the final order. "All ships, begin jump sequence." Space twisted, light bent, and 200 human warships disappeared from Earth's solar system, leaving nothing behind but ripples in the fabric of reality. The journey took 3 days in jump space. 3 days of waiting, of preparing, of wondering what they would find on the other side. Soldiers trained, officers planned, scientists studied every piece of data from the alien signal. And then they arrived. The fleet emerged from jump space near Sarath Prime. For a moment, there was silence as sensors adjusted to the new environment. Then the data came flooding in. "Admiral," the sensor officer reported, "we have contact, multiple alien vessels." Tiho leaned forward. "How many?" "2 fleets, sir. One near the planet, approximately 40 ships. They appear to be badly damaged. The other fleet is larger, over 500 ships advancing on the planet." "The attackers?" "Yes, sir. They have not detected us yet. We emerged behind them." Tiho studied the tactical display. The smaller fleet was clearly losing. Ships were exploding. The planet below was burning. Whatever was happening here, they had arrived just in time. "All ships battle stations," he ordered. "Move to intercept the attacking fleet. Place us between them and the planet." "Sir, there are over 500 enemy ships. We have 200. "I am aware of the numbers, Commander. We did not come here to count. We came here to help." On the bridge of the horizon, Captain Minji watched the alien fleets appear on her screen. The defending ships were elegant, with smooth curves and glowing engines. The attacking ships were ugly, all sharp angles and brutal weapons. "Those defenders are getting slaughtered," Wujin said quietly. "Not anymore," Minji replied. "Helm, full speed ahead, take us to the front of the formation." "Dr. Yoon," she continued, "open a channel to the defending fleet, all frequencies, let them know we are here to help." Hana's fingers flew over her console. She had practiced this moment 1,000 times, but nothing could prepare her for the reality. She was about to speak to aliens. Real aliens. "Channel open, Captain." Minji took a breath. "This is Captain Minji Kang of the Earth vessel Horizon. We received your distress signal. The United Earth Fleet is here to assist. Please respond." For a long moment there was only silence. Then a voice came through, speaking in halting, translated words. "Earth vessel, we do not understand. Who are you? Where did you come from?" "We came from far away," Minji said. "You sent a signal asking for help. We are here to answer." Another pause. When the alien spoke again, there was something new in its voice. Hope. You came. You actually came." "We did. Now tell us who is attacking you and we will stop them." On the Velori flagship, Commander Tavik stared at his screen in disbelief. The new ships had appeared from nowhere. They were not elegant like Velori vessels. They were heavy and brutal, covered in armor and weapons. and they were positioning themselves between his dying fleet and the Krell armada. "Commander," his officer whispered, "those ships, the scans show, they come from a Class XII world." Tavik felt his blood run cold. A death world. The ancient beacon had worked. It had summoned Deathworlders. He should have been terrified. Everything he knew said these beings should be monsters, but they had come to help. They had answered the call. "Open a channel," he ordered. His voice was steady even though his hands were shaking. Tell them thank you." And in space, 200 human ships prepared to meet 500 Krell warships. The odds were against them. They did not care. Someone had asked for help. Earth had answered. Aliens unintentionally summon Deathworlders. Entire fleet responds. Part 3, the Deathworlders. Commander Tavik could not stop staring at the sensor data. The ships that had arrived were unlike anything he had ever seen. They were not beautiful. Velori ships were graceful, designed to flow through space like water. These new vessels were the opposite. They were blocks of metal, covered in thick armor plates and visible weapon systems. They looked like they had been built for one purpose only. "War." "What are they?" his officer asked, voice trembling. Tavik pulled up the ancient records. The beacon had been programmed to summon aid from specific types of worlds. Class XII worlds, death worlds. He read the description again, hoping he had misunderstood. He had not. "Class XII," he said slowly. "Gravity at least 10 times our standard. Atmosphere containing oxygen, a corrosive gas. Temperature ranges from frozen to boiling. Predatory ecosystems where everything hunts everything else." His officer made a sound of fear. No intelligent species could survive such a place. The conditions would kill them. "And yet," Tavik said, pointing at the screen, "they are here." On the Krell flagship, Warlord Gran had also noticed the newcomers. He was annoyed at first. The Velori were supposed to be alone, helpless, easy prey. Now some unknown fleet had appeared. "Identify them," he ordered. His science officer ran the scans. What he found made him pause. He ran them again. The results were the same. "Warlord, you need to see this." Gran walked over and looked at the data. The new ships came from a planet in a distant part of the galaxy, a planet called Earth by its inhabitants. The data included biological scans of the beings inside those ships. "Carbon-based bipeds," the officer explained. "They call themselves humans. And their homeworld." The officer swallowed. Class XII Warlord, the highest danger classification. Gran was quiet for a long moment. The Krell were strong. They feared nothing. But even they knew about death worlds. Such places were avoided, considered too dangerous for any Krell expedition. Nothing was supposed to survive there, let alone build ships and travel between stars. "How many ships?" Gran asked. 200. Gran smiled, though there was less confidence in it than before. "We have 500. Whatever these creatures are, they are outnumbered. Continue the attack." Captain Minji Kang prepared a shuttle for the first face-to-face meeting. The Velori commander had agreed to receive a delegation. Dr. Hana Yoon would come as translator, along with Sergeant Do Yun Choi and a small security team. "Remember," Minji told her team, "these aliens have never met humans before. They may be afraid of us. Be gentle, be respectful. We are guests here." The shuttle crossed the space between fleets. Minji looked out the window at the Velori flagship. It was beautiful, covered in lights that shimmered like stars. Compared to human ships, it looked fragile. The shuttle docked and the airlock opened. Minji stepped through first. The Velori were waiting for her. She had studied the data, but seeing them in person was different. They were shorter than humans, barely reaching her chest. Their skin was pale blue, almost translucent. Their eyes were large and dark, without visible whites. They had 4 fingers on each hand, and they moved with delicate, careful motions. When Minji stepped forward, they flinched. She stopped. She understood. To them she must look terrifying. She was taller, heavier, built with dense bones and muscles developed for a world with crushing gravity. Her movements were quick and precise, the movements of a predator. Slowly, carefully, she bowed. "Commander Tavik," she said through the translator, "I am Captain Minji Kang. On behalf of Earth, I thank you for receiving us." Tavik stared at her. He had expected a monster. Instead, this creature, this Deathworlder, was showing respect. It was bowing to him. "Captain Kang," he managed, we did not expect anyone to answer our beacon." "We could not ignore a call for help," Minji said simply. "Now please tell us about your enemy. What do you face?" Tavik led them to a conference room. Velori officers moved away as the humans walked past. Dr. Hana noticed their fear. She tried to smile, then remembered that showing teeth might be threatening to species that did not have human expressions. "The Krell," Tavik explained, bringing up images. "They are conquerors. They move from world to world, taking resources and enslaving populations. They contacted us 6 months ago and demanded surrender. When we refused, they sent their armada." The images showed Krell warriors. They were large, over 2 meters tall, with thick gray skin and 4 arms. Their mouths were full of sharp teeth. They looked like predators. Sergeant Doyan studied the images with professional interest. "Strong," he observed. "Heavy build. 4 arms give them advantage in close combat." "They are feared throughout this region of space," Tavik said. "No one has ever defeated them." Doyan smiled. It was a small smile, but his teeth showed. Several Velori stepped back. "There is a first time for everything." Priestess Lyra entered the room. She had insisted on meeting the strangers, despite her fear. These beings had answered their desperate prayer. She needed to see them for herself. When she saw Minji, she stopped. The human female was beautiful in a terrifying way. She radiated strength and confidence, but her eyes were kind. "Priestess," Minji said, bowing again, "I am honored to meet you." Lyra approached slowly. "You came from a death world. The ancient records say such places create monsters." Minji was quiet for a moment. "My world is dangerous, yes. We have storms that destroy cities. We have oceans full of predators. Our ancestors survived by working together, by protecting each other. That is why we are here. But you are so strong, so fast, your bodies." Dr. Hana stepped forward. "May I explain something? On Earth, gravity is much stronger than here. Our bones are dense, our muscles powerful because our planet demands it. We breathe oxygen, which many species consider poisonous. Our ancestors were hunters who would chase prey for hours until it collapsed from exhaustion." The Velori stared at her in horror. But Hana continued gently, "We also have art, music, poetry. We fall in love, we raise families, we mourn our dead, we are more than our biology." Lyra took another step closer. "Why did you come? You do not know us, we have nothing to offer you." Minji's expression softened. "Because you asked. Because someone somewhere was afraid and alone and hoped that someone would answer. How could we not come?" Lyra felt tears forming in her large, dark eyes. "The beacon was supposed to summon protectors. I was afraid it had summoned destroyers instead." "We can be both," Minji said. "For our enemies we are destroyers, for our friends we are protectors. Today we choose to be your protectors." Commander Tavik had been listening. He stepped forward now, his fear fatting. "Captain Kang, the Krell have 500 ships, you have 200. How do you plan to fight them?" Minji smiled. It was the smile of someone who had been underestimated her entire life. "Commander, my people evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived ice ages, plagues, predators, and disasters. We learned to fight, to adapt, to never give up. The Krell are strong, yes, but they have never faced humans." She looked at Sergeant Doyan, who cracked his knuckles. She looked at Dr. Hana, who was already analyzing Krell weaknesses. She thought of her crew on the horizon, ready to fight. "Watch," she said, "and see what Deathworlders can do." Back on the Krell flagship, Warlord Gron received new intelligence. His scouts had gotten close enough to scan the human ships in detail. What they found disturbed him. "Their hulls are thick," the scout reported. "Much thicker than standard. Their weapons are primitive by design but extremely powerful. And their crews." "What about their crews?" "Warlord, they show no signs of fear. Our psychological scans detect excitement, eagerness." The scout paused. "They want to fight us." Gron stood very still. In all his years of conquest, he had never encountered a species that wanted to fight the Krell. Every other race fled or surrendered. These humans did neither. "Then we will give them what they want," he said finally. "All ships, prepare to attack. We will crush these Deathworlders and show them that the Krell fear nothing." But as he gave the order, Gron felt something he had not felt in a very long time. A small voice in the back of his mind, whispering a warning. What if the Deathworlders were stronger? In space between the fleets, Captain Minji returned to the horizon. She took her place on the bridge and opened a channel to the entire human fleet. "This is Captain Kang to all ships. The Velori are good people. They asked for help and we will give it. The Krell think they are the strongest force in this part of the galaxy. Let us show them they are wrong." Cheers echoed through every human ship. Admiral Tiho's voice came next, calm and steady. "All ships, battle formation. Today we make first contact with two species. One will become our friend. The other will learn why Earth is called a death world." Fleet advance. 200 human warships moved forward, engines roaring, weapons charging. 500 Krell ships waited for them. The battle for Sereth Prime was about to begin. Aliens unintentionally summon Deathworlders. Entire fleet responds. Part 4, The Storm. The first shot was fired by the Krell. Warlord Gron gave the order, and 500 ships unleashed their weapons at once. Beams of energy and volleys of missiles crossed the void, aimed at the human fleet. Gron expected the Deathworlders to scatter. He expected panic. He got neither. Admiral Tiho stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching the incoming fire on his screen. "All ships, hold formation. Let them hit us." The bridge officers exchanged glances but obeyed. Human ships did not dodge. They did not scatter. They flew straight into the barrage. Missiles exploded against thick armor. Energy beams scorched hull plating. And when the fire stopped, the human fleet was still there, still advancing. "Damage report," Tiho ordered. "Minor hull damage across 17 vessels, sir. No critical systems affected. All ships combat ready." Tiho smiled slightly. "Return fire." Human weapons were not elegant. They were not precise. They were brutal. Massive railguns launched metal projectiles at incredible speeds. Missiles with explosive warheads streaked through space. Energy weapons designed to burn through any armor targeted the Krell ships. The first Krell vessel exploded. Then the second, then the third. Warlord Gron watched in disbelief. The Deathworlders had taken his best attack and barely slowed down. Their return fire was devastating. His ships were dying. "Impossible," he growled. "What are their ships made of?" "Standard materials, Warlord, but the armor is thick, very thick, and their weapons use kinetic force rather than energy. Our shields are not designed for such attacks." Gron slammed his fist on his command chair, then closed the distance, overwhelmed them with numbers. The Krell fleet surged forward. 500 ships against 200. Even with superior firepower, the humans would eventually fall, or so Gron believed. On the horizon, Captain Minji watched the Krell charge. She felt no fear, only focus. "Lieutenant Wujin," she said, "execute maneuver Delta 7. Wujin grinned. "Yes, Captain." The horizon's engines roared. The ship accelerated to speeds that would kill any Velori or Krell pilot. The G-forces pushed the crew into their seats, but they had trained for this. Human bodies could handle what other species could not. The horizon dove into the Krell formation. It twisted and turned between enemy ships, moving too fast for them to track. Its weapons fired constantly, hitting targets on all sides. Other human ships followed. They flew in patterns that seemed impossible, turning at angles that should have torn them apart. Krell gunners tried to track them and failed. Human pilots laughed as they flew circles around their enemies. "They are moving too fast," a Krell officer reported. "Our targeting systems cannot keep up." "How is this possible?" Gron demanded. "No species can survive such maneuvers." But humans could. On Earth, they rode machines at high speeds for entertainment. They jumped from high places with cloth to slow their fall. They fought sports that broke bones and called it fun. Their tolerance for physical stress was beyond anything the galaxy had seen. Admiral Tiho watched the battle unfold. His fleet was outnumbered but not outmatched. Human ships were destroying Krell vessels at a rate of 3-1, but they were still taking losses. "Admiral," his tactical officer reported, "the Krell flagship is holding back. If we can reach it, we can end this faster." "Then we reach it." Tiho opened a channel. "Captain Kang, Sergeant Choi, I need a boarding team on that flagship." On the horizon, Minji received the order. "Sergeant Do-yun, you heard the Admiral. Take your team and capture that ship." Do-yun stood in the boarding bay, surrounded by his Marines. They wore heavy armor and carried weapons designed for close combat. Each one was a warrior trained since childhood. "Marines," Do-yun said, "we are going to board an enemy ship full of aliens who have never lost a war. They are bigger than us. They have 4 arms. They think they are the strongest creatures in the galaxy." He smiled. "Let us show them they are wrong." The boarding shuttle launched. It flew through the chaos of battle, dodging fire from all sides. Krell ships tried to shoot it down, but it was too small, too fast. It reached the flagship and attached to the hull. Do-yun activated the cutting torch. Metal melted, air rushed out, and then the Marines poured into the Krell ship. The first Krell warrior they met was massive. Over 2 meters tall, 4 arms ending in claws, teeth like knives. It roared and charged at the humans. Do-yun met it head-on. The fight was brief. The Krell was strong, but Do-yun was stronger. Human muscles developed on a high-gravity world-generated force that no Krell could match. Do-yun grabbed 2 of the creature's arms and twisted. Bones snapped. The Krell screamed. "Move forward," Do-yun ordered. "Bridge is that way." The Marines advanced through the ship. Krell warriors attacked them constantly, but nothing could stop them. Human soldiers fought with a ferocity that terrified their enemies. They did not retreat when wounded. They did not slow down when tired. They kept coming, relentless, unstoppable. One Marine took a claw slash across her face. Blood poured down her cheek. She wiped it away, laughed, and shot her attacker 3 times. "Are you injured?" Do-yun asked. "Just a scratch, Sergeant. Keep moving." The Krell had never seen anything like it. These creatures bled and kept fighting. They were hurt and kept advancing. They looked at death and smiled. In the corridors of the flagship, Warlord Gron received reports of the boarding action. What he heard made his blood run cold. "They will not stop," his officer said. "We kill 1 and 2 more take its place. They fight like what?" "Like they enjoy it, Warlord." Gron understood then. He had made a terrible mistake. These Deathworlders were not like other species. They did not fight because they had to. They fought because it was in their blood, in their bones. 10,000 years of evolution on a world that wanted them dead had created something unprecedented. Predators, true predators. Outside, the battle continued. Human ships pressed their advantage. Krell vessels fell 1 by 1. Commander Tavik watched from the Velori flagship, unable to believe what he was seeing. "They are winning," he whispered. "They are actually winning." Priestess Lyra stood beside him. Tears ran down her face. "They came. They really came and they are saving us. On a screen, they saw a human ship that had been badly damaged. Its engines were failing. Its weapons were offline. The Velori expected it to retreat. Instead, it accelerated. The damaged ship flew straight at a Krell destroyer. At the last moment, the human crew ejected in escape pods. The ship hit the destroyer at full speed, and both vessels exploded in a massive fireball. They used their own ship as a weapon, Tavik said, stunned. Minji had seen it too. She opened a channel to the escape pods. Rescue ships pick up those survivors. Good work, brave people. The battle was turning. The Krell formation was breaking. Ships that had never known defeat were fleeing. And at the heart of the chaos, Sergeant Doyun and his Marines reached the bridge of the flagship. Gran stood waiting for them. He was surrounded by his best warriors, the elite of the Krell military. He held a massive sword in one of his 4 hands. "You fight well, Deathworlder," he said, "but this ends here." Doyun set down his gun. He drew his own combat knife. "I agree." They charged at each other. The fight was brutal. Gran was fast for his size, his 4 arms attacking from multiple angles. Doyun blocked, dodged, and struck back. He took hits that would have killed any Velori. He kept fighting. Blood ran down both of them. The bridge was silent except for the sounds of combat. Krell and human warriors watched, not interfering. This was a duel, a test of strength. In the end, Doyun was faster. His knife found the gap in Gran's armor. The warlord fell to his knees, defeated but alive. "Kill me," Gran growled. "End it." Doyun looked down at him, then he stepped back. "No, your war is over. Your fleet is destroyed. You will surrender and you will answer for your crimes, but I will not kill an unarmed enemy." Gran stared at him. "Why, you are a predator, a killer, why show mercy?" Doyun smiled. It was a tired smile, the smile of a warrior who had seen too much death. "Because that is what separates us from monsters." Outside, the Krell fleet was in full retreat. 200 human ships had defeated 500 Krell vessels. It should have been impossible, but humans had done impossible things before. Admiral Tiho surveyed the battlefield. They had lost 47 ships. Over 800 humans had died, but Sarath Prime was saved. The Velori were free. "All ships," he said, "stand down from combat, begin search and rescue operations, and someone tell the Velori, the battle is over, they are safe." On her ship, Priestess Lyra heard the message. She fell to her knees and wept, not from fear this time, from joy. The Deathworlders had come, and they had kept their promise. Aliens unintentionally summon Deathworlders. Entire fleet responds. Part 5, New Dawn. The fires had stopped. The weapons had gone silent. Where there had been chaos and destruction, there was now only the quiet emptiness of space filled with wreckage. Admiral Tiho Park stood on the bridge of his command ship, looking out at what remained of the Krell armada. 200 ships had faced 500. Now, scattered debris and surrendered vessels were all that was left of the Krell invasion force. "Final count," his officer reported. "We lost 47 ships, 847 personnel killed in action. The Krell lost 312 ships, 188 have surrendered, the rest fled." Tiho closed his eyes for a moment. Every death was a weight on his shoulders. Every lost ship was a family that would receive terrible news. Victory was never clean. "Begin rescue operations," he ordered. "I want every human survivor found, and help the Velori with their wounded too." The fleet moved into action. Small rescue ships launched from carriers, searching the debris for survivors. Medical vessels prepared for incoming casualties. The machinery of war transformed into the machinery of mercy. On the surface of Sarath Prime, the Velori emerged from their shelters. They looked up at the sky they had expected to see filled with Krell conquerors. Instead, they saw human ships standing guard, protecting them. High Scholar Eneth stood outside the bunker, his ancient eyes wet with tears. The beacon had worked. Against all odds, against all reason, something had answered. Something from a death world had crossed the galaxy to save them. "I did not believe," he whispered. "I activated the beacon, but I did not truly believe anyone would come." Beside him, Priestess Lyra placed a gentle hand on his arm. Sometimes faith is answered in ways we do not expect. Warlord Gran was brought before Admiral Tiho in chains. The once proud conqueror looked smaller now, defeated in a way that went beyond physical wounds. His 4 arms hung limp at his sides. His eyes showed something they had never shown before. "Fear." Tiho studied him calmly. "Warlord Gran, your fleet has been destroyed. Your warriors have surrendered. Do you understand your situation?" "I understand that I face death," Gran said. "Do what you will. The Krell do not beg." "I am not going to kill you." Gran looked up, confused. "Why? I invaded these people. I would have enslaved them. I have done the same to countless worlds. By your laws and ours, I deserve death." Tiho stepped closer. "You do deserve death, but that is not the human way. You will be held accountable for your crimes. You will release every species you have enslaved. You will withdraw your forces to your own territory, and you will leave these people in peace. And if I refuse, then I will return with a larger fleet, and next time there will be no surrender." Gran stared at him for a long moment. He had never met a species like this, strong enough to destroy him yet choosing mercy, powerful enough to conquer yet choosing protection. "What kind of predators are you?" he asked quietly. Tiho smiled slightly. "The kind that chooses to be more." Gran lowered his head. "The Krell accept your terms." 2 days later, a memorial service was held aboard the command ship. Every human vessel participated through broadcast. The names of the 847 fallen were read aloud, each one honored individually. Captain Minji Kang stood at the ceremony, her uniform crisp, her expression solemn. She read the names of the 12 crew members she had lost from the horizon. Each name was a person she had known, trained with, laughed with. Each name was a hole in her heart. "They gave their lives so that strangers might live," she said. "They crossed the galaxy to answer a call for help, and they paid the ultimate price. We will never forget them." Sergeant Doyun stood nearby, bandages still covering wounds from his fight with Gran. He had refused to stay in the medical bay. His people had died. He would honor them. The Velori watched the ceremony from their flagship. They did not fully understand human customs, but they understood grief. They understood sacrifice. Priestess Lyra wept openly. "They barely knew us," she said to Commander Tavik, "and yet they died for us." "That is what they are," Tavik replied quietly. "Warriors who choose to protect, predators who show mercy. I have never seen anything like them." After the memorial, Dr. Hana Yoon met with High Scholar Eneth. They sat in a quiet room on the Velori flagship, sharing information about their respective species. "Your people fascinate me," Eneth admitted. "Everything about your biology says you should be monsters. Your world, your evolution, your history of violence. And yet you came to save us." Hana nodded thoughtfully. "Earth is dangerous. We have had wars, disasters, cruelties, but we have also had love, cooperation, and hope. The same conditions that made us strong also made us value connection. We survived because we helped each other. And now you help us." "Yes, because that is who we choose to be." Eneth was quiet for a moment. The ancient records spoke of Deathworlders as mindless destroyers. They were wrong. Perhaps the species who wrote those records never met Deathworlders who made it to the stars, Hana said. Perhaps the ones who become space-faring are different. Strong enough to survive, but wise enough to build rather than destroy. A knock came at the door. Captain Minji entered, followed by Priestess Lyra. "Admiral Park wishes to speak with your leaders," Minji said. "He has a proposal." The meeting took place on the command ship. Admiral Tiho sat across from Commander Tavik and Priestess Lyra, with High Scholar Eneth observing. "The Krell will withdraw," Tiho explained. "But they are not the only threat in this galaxy. Other conquerors exist, other dangers. The Velori cannot defend themselves alone." "What do you propose?" Tavik asked. "An alliance. Earth will establish a presence in this region. We will help the Velori build defenses, and if anyone threatens you again, we will return." Lyra leaned forward. "Why? What do you gain from this?" Tiho considered the question carefully. "When we received your beacon, we did not know what we would find. We only knew that someone needed help. Now that we are here, we have found something unexpected. Friends, beings who value peace, knowledge, and cooperation. The galaxy is vast and often cruel. Perhaps together we can make it better." Tavik and Lyra exchanged glances. For 1,000 years, the Velori had lived alone, isolated, afraid of the dangers beyond their world. Now beings from a death world were offering friendship. "We accept," Tavik said. "The Velori would be honored to call humanity our allies." Tiho smiled and extended his hand. Tavik hesitated, then reached out with his four-fingered hand and clasped it. The first alliance between humans and aliens was formed. In the days that followed, preparations began. Human engineers helped the Velori strengthen their defenses. Human doctors treated wounded Velori alongside their own. Human soldiers trained Velori volunteers who wanted to learn to protect their home. Sergeant Doyan found himself teaching a group of young Velori basic self-defense. They were small and fragile compared to him, but they were eager to learn. "You will never be as strong as humans," he told them honestly. "But strength is not everything. Speed, intelligence, cooperation. These are also weapons. Use what you have." One young Velori, barely past childhood, raised a hand. "Sergeant, were you afraid when you fought the Krell warlord?" Doyan smiled. "Yes, I was afraid. Only fools feel no fear, but I did not let fear stop me. That is the difference." On the last day before the fleet departed, Priestess Lyra sought out Captain Minji. They met on an observation deck, looking out at the stars. "I need to tell you something," Lyra said. "When the beacon activated, I prayed. I prayed for someone to save us. But when I learned what it answered, I was terrified. Deathworlders, monsters from nightmare worlds." She turned to face Minji directly. "I was wrong. You are not monsters. You are something the galaxy has never seen before. Beings strong enough to destroy anything but who choose to protect instead. The universe needs beings like you." Minji felt emotion rising in her chest. "Thank you, Priestess. We are not perfect. We make mistakes. We have darkness in our history, but we try to be better. Every day we try. That is all anyone can do." The fleet prepared to leave. Ships that had been damaged were repaired or replaced. Supplies were restocked. The fallen were honored one final time. Admiral Tiho made one last broadcast before departure. His face appeared on screens across both fleets and on the surface of Sereth Prime. "People of Velori," he said, "we came because you asked for help. We fought because you deserved protection. And now we leave, knowing that we have made friends among the stars. But this is not goodbye. Earth will return. We will build an embassy here. We will learn from each other. And if danger ever threatens you again, you need only call. We will answer." He paused, looking directly at the camera. "Let this be a message to the galaxy. Earth has joined the community of worlds. We do not seek conquest. We do not desire war. But we will protect those who cannot protect themselves. We will stand against cruelty and injustice wherever we find them. So to any who would harm the innocent, be warned. Humanity is watching, and we will come." The fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving Sereth Prime behind. But they left more than memories. They left hope. On the planet below, High Scholar Eneth recorded a new entry in the ancient archives. He wrote about the beacon, about the beings it had summoned, about the impossible victory they had won. He ended with a simple note. The records were wrong about Deathworlders. They are not monsters, they are guardians, and now they are our friends. Across the galaxy, word spread. A new species had appeared, Deathworlders who had reached the stars, beings of terrible strength who chose kindness over cruelty, protection over domination. Some species feared this news, others celebrated it, but all understood that the balance of power had changed. On Earth, Admiral Tiho delivered his report to the United Council. When he finished, there was silence. "We have made first contact," he said. "We have made allies, and we have shown the galaxy who we are." "What happens now?" one council member asked. Tiho thought about the Velori, about their gentle ways and their grateful eyes. He thought about the Krell, humbled but not destroyed. He thought about all the other species out there, waiting to be discovered. "Now," he said, "we keep our promise. Whenever someone needs help, whenever someone calls out into the darkness hopping for an answer, we will be there." That is what humans do. Far away on Sereth Prime, Priestess Lyra looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there the humans were traveling home, but she knew they would return. They had promised. And humans, she had learned, kept their promises. She smiled and whispered a prayer, not of desperation this time, of thanks. The Deathworlders had come, and the galaxy would never be the same.